So when you think about factory labor, this might come to mind. Dangerous conditions with overcrowded assembly lines of people completing repetitive tasks for long hours. But the workforce in manufacturing is facing a major overhaul. And although automation and offshoring have shrunk manufacturing jobs drastically over the past few decades, the industry is actually adding jobs now. But they look really different. Manufacturers are quick to adapt to automation and change the way we make our products, but now we need to change how we make our workers. And there's one solution with bipartisan support.
For apprenticeships.
Youth apprenticeship.
Apprenticeship.
For apprenticeship.
Apprenticeships.
2-year apprenticeship.
I'll be signing an executive order to expand apprenticeships and vocational training to help all Americans find a rewarding career, earn a great living, and support themselves and their families, and love going to work in the morning.
Apprenticeships differ from other training programs in a few ways. They have to offer combined classroom or conceptual learning with on-the-job mentor training. Apprentices must be paid and employed by the firm, and they have to last at least a year, ending with a degree, certification, or both. This means that apprentices earn on-the-job experience while building an educational foundation simultaneously, and they're earning money while they do it. But there's a marketing problem in the United States. When Americans think of apprenticeships, they often see this old-timey training for blue-collar work, and that's not our fault. The vast majority of apprenticeships in America are concentrated in the construction field, and they rely heavily on contributions from union laborers. But even then, we don't have that many apprenticeships to begin with. Here in the US, a 4-year degree has been seen as a golden ticket to economic mobility and higher-paying jobs, and this blue-collar bias with apprenticeships has Americans viewing it as a lesser alternative to higher education. In countries like Germany and Australia, students can get an apprenticeship in nearly any profession, from IT to banking to hospitality, even advanced manufacturing. Many of these students go on to complete a 4-year degree on top of those certifications. Americans are already struggling with the rising cost of higher education, and the job market isn't making it easy to see a return. So while thousands of young people came out of colleges with degrees in highly desired STEM fields, 74% of them are currently working in unrelated professions. And yet, manufacturers are citing a problem.
The manufacturing industry is projecting 3.5 million new job openings over the next decade, 2 million of which, they claim, won't be filled due to a skills gap. And the skills needed? Higher proficiency in math, computer, and tech. So despite there being plenty of people with the degrees, they're not often looking to manufacturing for work. And there could be a few reasons for that.
We get employers that want workers that know high school math and read at a college level, and they want to pay them $10 an hour, and then they feel that there's a skill shortage, and maybe what there is a wage shortage.
And maybe it's a bit of both. The manufacturing industry has been working to change years of public perception.
They think of the old manufacturing, the mills, dark, dirty environment. We need to change that perception.
This sort of stigma has followed the manufacturing industry since the Industrial Revolution, when people worked for hours on end for little pay. In England, so-called apprentices were often orphaned children, recruited to work in dangerous conditions in exchange for pennies or room and board. With the development of labor unions and the implementation of child labor laws, conditions in factories drastically changed. Wages went up, hours went down, and then companies began to automate and offshore jobs. Foreign labor and industrial robots allowed manufacturers to lower cost and increase production. It also cost the U.S. nearly 6 million jobs in a single decade. But now, as automation progresses, some of the factories are coming back. The new jobs offered, though, are far from low-skilled assembly line work.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, we could have a mechanic, and then we would have an electrician, and then you had maybe a robotics person. Well, now we need all those skills in one.
It's like a Swiss Army knife. You want somebody who different skill sets. And the new industry and the new economy, that's what it demands.
That Swiss Army knife of a worker needs a combination of skills, but not technically the full proficiency of an electrical or mechanical engineer. What's needed is something in between. Companies like BMW in the Carolinas use apprenticeships to build the skilled workforce that they need by raising the technical proficiency of an existing workforce, which is what apprenticeships do best.
It doesn't really feel like work. It feels like I'm just training all the time. I'm always trying to learn, and our supervisors put us into positions where we need to learn.
In countries like Germany, apprenticeships are built into their educational system. Nearly 60% of German high school students enter an apprenticeship, and as a result, their youth unemployment rate is one of the lowest in the world. It also helps in the long run. Apprenticeship programs have been considered a staple in Germany's economic strength. Apprenticeships offer a direct connection between education and employment, making it a natural fit for the ebbs and flows of the economy. About half of apprentices land full-time jobs after their training is finished.
In Germany, the view is that a worker is an investment rather than a cost. You assume the worker is going to be there a long time, and so of course you want to invest in making that worker as productive as possible.
Yet in the United States, employers are wary to spend time and money on training without concrete numbers that show a return on their investment.
When you talk about apprentice program and training, it's really hard to come up with a hardcore number. If you do just numbers as a budgeting, sometimes a little bit intangible, but when you see the benefits of the workforce, how's it working towards quality here, it's very tangible in my opinion, the quality of the person, the quality of that investment.
So BMW has set up shop in South Carolina and is utilizing a German-inspired, American-made apprenticeship program. The Carolinas are unique in that they have a state-funded workforce development program that pairs companies with technical schools in the area. This allows companies to craft employees to the needs of the industry with custom-built training programs while directly communicating with apprentices and their needs.
I really thought okay, well, they're going to work us like crazy, and then I'm not going to be able to get caught up on my school and things are going to suffer. No, they told us that education is first. Doing that and having the flexibility in our work schedules really helps out. And so when I'm learning something at school, I come here and I'm actually doing it more hands-on. I'm using it in a practical field.
The companies invest in their apprentices for 2 years, covering their tuition at the technical college and offering on-the-job training in between. Apprentices finish the program with an associate's degree, 1 or more certifications, and oftentimes a full-time job with the company. And even if apprentices don't take the job offer, it's not technically a huge loss to the company, since they actually work. Employers can pay apprentices less than they pay full-time employees, but they're still contributing to the company as they learn.
The more we can bring up the technical skill within the workforce, I think we're all going to ultimately benefit in better products, higher wages, and things of that nature. So yeah, I look at it as a long-term investment maybe, in the U.S. workforce.
Automation is a present reality in manufacturing, and it's continuously raising the bar for factory labor. It's true that companies need to invest in robotics to improve their production lines, but workers can't be left behind as a result. While the days of interchangeable employees are coming to a close, there's a long way to go before humans become obsolete. Successfully investing in this automated future starts with developing the human workforce.